technology has we can't even keep up with it. It's
Right.
moving so fast.
Yes. When I first started, there were devices and they were being utilized, but I feel like now they're more personable.
AAC, we love school-based therapy and that model, but that model is really just to support the environment at school.
There's a prerequisite for AAC, breathing.
And apraxia is muscles don't know exactly what to do to form the words.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's that motor speech disorder.
So explain to the parent, like, look, this is going to look really strange. Best thing is getting on that floor and just playing.
And if you have to take a step back to make sure that you're really connecting with your child, that's what you have to do.
Welcome to Help! I Have Kids. I'm your host, Pam Marshall, a mom of 5 and a pediatric occupational therapist with over 35 years experience. This podcast is designed to equip you with practical tools, insights from experts, and real life stories. Because at the end of the day, you are the head of your child's care team. Each week, you'll hear from pediatric experts and fellow moms like you that will help build your confidence. They'll offer clarity and empower you to make informed decisions that work for your whole family. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful communication tools, AAC devices. Wonder what they are. We'll find out. And I'm joined today by Taylor Denney.
Hi.
She is an amazing speech-language pathologist, and she helps people with communication. And not only that, she's really passionate about this topic. You're very passionate about AAC, and she knows firsthand how this can impact a child's life and a family's life. So let's dive in. But I want to start first, just learning about you.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself.
So my name's Taylor. I'm originally from Ohio, and I moved to Kentucky for college. Went to EKU, where I met my husband. We got married, and just 2 years ago, we had our daughter, Salem.
So fun being a mom.
Oh, yeah. She is so fun, so fun. And I've been with Marshall for 6 years. So.
And what's your favorite thing that she's doing these days as a 2-year-old?
Her language has really exploded lately, and currently right now when she says thank you, it's thank you so much. And I just think it is the cutest thing ever. Yes.
Has she said any words incorrectly?
Yes.
Do you correct her, or do you think they're really cute?
I think they're really cute, but we're getting there. There are some things we'll eventually have to correct, but right now it's fine.
I know. As a therapist, mom, it's like you're in this angst, like, oh, but that's really cute. But no, that's not how you say it. Let's correct that.
Right. So we'll get there soon, but right now it's cute. So
yeah.
We'll allow it.
That's so good. Well, and what is the one piece of advice, like when you think lots of people give you advice
yes.
To try to help you as a mom, but what's something that's been super helpful that you'd love to share?
I mean, it's very basic, but even just like, it goes by very fast, and just appreciating everything as it's happening. Yeah. I was always like, oh, it's not that fast. It's fast. So very just really appreciating it.
You blink and it's the next birthday, it feels like.
Yeah. So, and then you always have the memories like a year ago, she was doing this, and it's crazy to see the growth in just a year.
Yes, it is. It's fascinating how fast it goes. And I always say it's just that angst of a mom, like you enjoy every minute, but then you get really sad, like, my baby's gone.
Yes, I know it for sure.
I have a big girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when did you first find out about AAC, and what were your thoughts, and how did you become passionate about it? And what is AAC? We need that first, because our audience doesn't know.
So AAC stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication, and that can look so different for each kiddo. In undergrad, we took our first class for AAC, and it's a lot to cover in a 1 semester class. So, we talk about all of the different types. You have high tech devices like your iPads that talk. You have picture exchange communication. You have signing and gestures. Those are all alternative forms or augmentative forms. So that's when I first learned about it. When I first started treating, I didn't have a lot of kiddos that used AAC, but then I think as I learned more about it and got to know more of the kids and kind of changed my treatment style, I ended up getting a lot of kiddos who are on the spectrum and just seeing how they benefit from them.
Usually you're using AAC with a child that isn't talking, correct?
Most of the time, yes. But then we also have kiddos who can speak. Maybe they're just highly unintelligible. They're really hard to understand. Maybe we have apraxia of speech. So we use that as an augmentative, maybe just to kind of help them get their point across.
Yeah.
And then we also have kiddos who maybe just aren't quite talking just yet. And they have a couple of words, but this would really help kind of push them up over the edge.
And apraxia is when children can't form, their muscles don't know exactly what to do to form the word, so they have a lot of approximations.
Absolutely, yeah. It's that motor speech disorder. So the brain isn't quite telling your mouth how to make the sounds correctly, and it's very frustrating for kiddos. So having that kind of communicative modality to help you get that point across really seems to help our kids.
Right, yeah. And what I've heard it described, like some parents understand that it's a bridge to talking. Like you start on an AAC device, it gets the communication going, and then it helps them bridge to start speaking.
And we would always love for kiddos to be verbal. That would be amazing. But sometimes, it is a bridge to that, and sometimes it is an alternative form.
Yeah.
But just knowing that this is communication, and that's what your kiddo needs right now.
Right. And let's talk about, because some of you moms out there or dads listening, your desire is for your child to talk because that means connection.
Yeah. And, I completely understand where that's coming from. We're in a society where it's like we want our kids to talk. When did they say their first word? What was their first word? So I understand like the push for it. But before we have those spoken words, we have to connect with our kiddos. And it could be play-based. It could be, getting down on the floor, making sounds at each other, waving, playing. So we have to start with connection before we can even work on that communication part.
Correct. Yeah, we did talk about that, I think, in one of our previous podcasts a little bit, that the power of connection, like a mom's desire is to connect, to have that social, emotional connection.
Absolutely.
I mean, you want to love them and they love you back. And whether it's not with words, I mean, even just babies cooing and looking at you and just the connection that's happening. And many parents don't have that opportunity if their child is diagnosed with autism or they have a developmental disability and they're not able to really have that connection with their child, that a speech-language pathologist can help that connection to start.
Absolutely. And I feel like when you first get that diagnosis, it's scary. And a lot of times parents are just focused on, we have to get to therapy, we have to get them talking, we have to do this. And I think it's really important to just take a step back and just establish that connection with your kiddo, because it's going to be a long road if we don't have that initial connection.
And the power of imitation.
Yes, absolutely.
Is unbelievably powerful.
Yes.
And I'll just explain what that is a little bit, because I discovered it in my journey of being a therapist and always loved working with children with autism. I had my first internship a long time ago was at a school for autism. But I learned, it was a while ago, I don't remember what year I started using it, but I would imitate a child, especially if I was new to getting to know this child, maybe 10, 15 minutes. And I would explain to the parent, like, look, this is going to look really strange because I'm just going to follow them. I'm going to run where they run. I'm going to make the sound they make. I'm going to pick up the thing they pick up. I'm going to do exactly what they do. And it's going to look very strange and weird. But all of a sudden, the child with autism starts looking at you and they start making a connection when you do this silly, it feels silly, imitation. And then you learn the power of it.
When you follow their lead,
You follow their lead and you learn how to get in their world. And all of a sudden, they're connecting with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's goosebumply when that happens. It's like so amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me about a time when you've connected like that, or when you've seen a child connect to using AAC and beginning to communicate with their parent or
absolutely. Well, I mean, I have a kiddo right now who we've really been struggling, and I picked her up from another therapist. We just weren't really connecting. I caught myself like, we're going to push this device. We're going to try this. And then just this week we took a step back and we just played. And it was the most productive session we'd had. And it's hard to remember that. I think, I mean, even as a professional, it's hard to keep that in mind, that just taking a step back, getting in their space, following their lead, playing with them, and then introducing the device once that connection has been established makes a huge difference.
It really does. And parents, the best thing is getting on that floor and just playing.
And I always tell my parents, I'm like, you're going to feel silly, and that probably means you're doing it correctly. Like, just get on their level.
Yeah.
And it's tough at first, but it's magic. It really is.
I know technology has we can't even keep up with it. It's moving so fast.
Yes, it is.
Talk to us a little bit about how technology has impacted the use and the quality of AAC and what that's looked like even in your journey as a therapist.
Absolutely. So, when I first started, it was a lot of pictures. There were devices and they were being utilized, but I feel like now they're more personable. You can make them more personalized. They can sound like you. You can change the pictures so they look like you. You can add pictures from the internet. It's insane. Like, you can say, we're going to McDonald's, and it's no longer just a cartoon picture of a building. You can find the golden arches. You can put it up there.
Yeah.
So just making it more functional for our kiddos. It's insane how much it's changed. Again, even just in the last 6 years.
Very real.
Yeah.
And are most of your children using iPads with apps, or are they using actual like Dynavox or brand devices?
For sure. So a lot of the companies, they send a device, and it's essentially an iPad, but it has the very sturdy case. It's got the loudspeaker. So that's nice to be able to go through insurance, having that be approved and getting all of it all together. So most of my kiddos are like that, but if the family can afford it, if it's something that we can work through, it's nice that you can put a lot of the apps, not all of the apps, but a lot of the apps you can put on the device and utilize it that way as well, if insurance is being a pain.
Yeah, that's very, very helpful. And tell me a little bit about, how did you learn how to program things or use things? Because not all speech language pathologists, not all speech therapists know how to navigate AAC. And how did you learn? And what were some things what are some things parents can look for when they're searching for a speech therapist?
So when I first started, we had the one class, which was great, but it's just not near enough. So we have had lots of lunch and learns. Lots of lunch and learns. We have representatives that come in, they show us their devices, the updates on them. And that has really helped just broaden our understanding. Also, again, all of the software companies have their own websites. They have continuing education courses. I get a new kid who has a new device, and I'm like, well, I have to learn it, kind of thing. So just getting out there and finding that experience has been nice. As far as parents go, looking for therapists that are familiar with it, I think, finding someone who will follow your child around.
Yeah.
Following someone who understands that, communication isn't just spoken words, and being able to get familiar with some of those other options. I think that that's really helpful.
That is super helpful. I know that I hear throughout our company that how much speech language pathologists really enjoy meeting with the reps and learning from them, because they're so well trained.
Yeah.
And that gives you all a lot of knowledge
Absolutely.
to work with, and that's so great.
We had a rep that we've been with for like 5 years come in just a couple weeks ago, and she taught us all something new. We've all been using AAC for years, and she's like, oh, have you been doing this? And just, no. There's just so much to learn.
There's so much to learn.
It's great.
So if you were a mom searching for a speech therapist who, if they felt like their child needed AAC, how would you know you're a right fit for that therapist? Like, what questions would you ask?
Absolutely.
Or what would a mom look for?
Yeah. So we like to call them the green flags. Just someone who, again, is willing to get down on your child's level, willing to use a play-based approach, and honestly is willing to work with other disciplines, ABA, OT, mental health, any of the other services. And someone who's really willing to listen to your family's needs and respect what it is that you want, what it is that you need for your child, and just someone who's willing to work with you. I mean, that's a huge thing.
Yeah. And it's very much, if you enter into the AAC world, the parents have to learn and the caregivers have to learn along with the therapist. You have to be very involved.
It's very
in the sessions
yes.
and it might require getting a babysitter for your other children or finding, someone who can watch them so you can be involved and learn and teach school and teach other professionals.
It's a lot of collaboration. It's a lot of educating everybody around you. Like, you can't just use the device in the session. You have to use it at home and at school and at grandpa's house, everywhere. Like, you have to use it.
And be consistent.
Be consistent with that modeling,
All right, there are a lot of myths around AAC, and there's controversy. It feels like there's controversy in most things. Like, most things anymore you choose as a mom. But if you want to talk to parents right now about some of the myths around AAC, tell us what those are.
Absolutely. So one that I see most often is that there's a prerequisite for AAC. And I think my favorite thing that I saw is the only prerequisite is breathing. Like, that's the only thing. Anybody can learn to use AAC. It could be high tech, it could be low tech. You can use it. You don't have to have any certain skill before. And I think that that's really important. Another big one is parents saying, well, if I get him an AAC device, he won't talk to me anymore. And I understand that fear. I totally get it. My thought on it is again, it could be not a forever, it could be a right now. And it could be where, they can use it to communicate what they need to prevent some of those frustrations. Because I know sometimes we have big feelings, and sometimes those feelings come out in a not so pretty way. And a lot of times that's related to communication. And if you can't communicate what you want or what you need or that you are all done, you're going to get frustrated. So it's nice to have that. And it's also just another model. Your kiddo you can model, I can say it, you can say it. But if this in front of you is also saying it and you can see it, that's huge. That's a really big help. Again, it's scary to try it, but I think it's worth it. It's just another tool in their toolbox. And I would rather a kid have too many tools than not enough.
Right. And I also have heard the myth that, it's going to become a crutch. Like, my child will, like you said, just want to use that and not want to use their words. And I think, that it's a real valid fear, but generally it's a bridge.
Generally it's a bridge. And even if it is an alternative and that's what we use from here on out, some kids aren't going to be communicating with spoken words. And that's fine. We just need to understand that it's not wrong. It's just different. And that's huge.
And so is there any situation where you recommend AAC is not the right choice? Like, have you come across children who you say, no, I don't think this is the right choice?
Yeah. I usually present it early. Most of the time, kiddos respond to it. But you do have to take, and maybe it's just not the right device. You have to take into consideration physical limitations or fine motor limitations. So even if it's not this specific type of AAC, you can usually find something else that works. Yeah, and again, we would love all of our kiddos to be spoken language, but sometimes it's not.
So you've busted some of those myths, and I have also been reading about the latest research. So research with children with autism specifically that has shown that the younger the child is starting on AAC, the better the outcome for their language and communication. So tell us about that, or what do you know about that?
Again, it's one of those where early intervention is ideal. The earlier you can get them in, the better. Any sort of intervention, but especially with an AAC device, because they can get that access to two different types of communicative modalities. We have the iPad or whatever device. Usually they're visual. They have a picture that they can utilize. It's just another way for them to remember what they're saying. There are some devices you can link video clips where, like, if you want, like, no, I don't want to do that. You can link a specific, like, spoken language or a video clip that does that. And kids are always more interested in that. So it's nice to you be able to utilize that to communicate, even if we can't read yet. or just that visual aspect as well.
So if a parent is listening right now that has a young child and you suspect maybe your child hasn't been diagnosed yet, maybe they're 2 or 3 and you're suspecting autism, maybe they're waiting for that diagnosis, you don't necessarily have to wait for a diagnosis of autism. You can get started on AAC right away. And that's what we're encouraging is just the research shows getting started on it earlier,
Absolutely.
it actually has better outcomes for their communication. So I think that's important information for our listeners
Absolutely.
to know. Yeah.
Even if you're using sign language or pictures to communicate, that's, those are other AAC types, and you can utilize those to communicate as well. Just something else to throw at them.
Yeah, there you go. How can parents best support their child at home? And also there's home, school, and maybe outpatient therapy, and maybe they have after school care, daycare as well. So they have all these different places they're going. And how do you get everyone on the same page?
Yeah.
What do you tell parents?
We love open communication.
Yeah.
It's easy to do in the clinic. Speech can talk to OT, can talk to ABA, can talk to mental health. It's nice when we're all on the same page, but, parents are the head of their child's care team.
They are.
And you have to be on that same page. And it's a collaboration. Your input is just as important as your therapist's. And everyone communicating, sharing with the school. I always say model until you're sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
Spoken language, AAC use, but just making sure everyone that they're with is using that device or whatever method of communication, because it shows kiddos that, oh, this is a valid form of communication. Everybody else uses it. I can use it too. And I think that's huge.
And I've come across parents who are pretty good about using video as well as a way to show, maybe school or daycare or whatever. This is how he uses or she uses the AAC device, and this is what it looks like. And they share videos.
Absolutely.
That's a great way to
That is huge, because
share.
I know my kiddo is different at home than she is at daycare. So it's nice to show what works at home and, maybe try this here. It's nice to see that too.
Yeah, that is. So collaboration, just being involved, being the head of their child's care team. For a mom that feels overwhelmed, what encouragement or what place should that mom start that just feels overwhelmed?
I mean, being a mom in general is overwhelming. It's a lot. But especially if your child does have different needs, like they need to use a communication device or anything like that. I think, again, we want you to model, we want you to do this. But again, at the end of the day, it comes back to connection. And if you have to take a step back to make sure that you're really connecting with your parent or your child, that's what you have to do. But also, it's nice to build your village, like find parents who have similar needs. Facebook groups, there are so many Facebook groups.
So many for anything you want to.
Absolutely. Or I know there are like parent support groups. We've had a couple of those at the clinic. Just finding people who get you is also helpful as well.
Yes. And I know there's even support groups for moms with children with apraxia. And they talk about insurance denying their speech therapy. And they talk about all kinds of things on there, how to help each other.
Absolutely.
So it's very powerful if you can utilize that. And many of us don't, I know I'm one, I don't love social media just for daily life, but for work or mom connection or whatever, professional connection. It's really powerful.
There are so many, so many groups.
Yes. A mom that feels scared or feels intimidated about trying AAC, there's so many different supports available. And I do feel like a good speech therapist is the one to help you through that.
Absolutely.
For sure.
At least helping you navigate it for sure. Because there's a lot of resources out there. So it's nice to have someone who knows what they're talking about kind of help you, lead you in the right direction.
And you can ask other moms. They know who the good speech therapists are in the area. How do you reassure parents that their child will find their voice?
Yeah, and it's very scary because you want to hear your kiddo talk. You want to hear their voice. And, sometimes that voice is different. And it's scary and it's hard. But just knowing that there is a way for communication, even if it's not spoken language, it could be writing, it could be the device. And again, some of those kiddos will learn to talk and will use their voice.
Yeah.
I have kiddos with autism, apraxia, all of them who use a variety or a combination of different forms of communication, spoken words, gesture. I mean, we all do. Like we gesture, we point, and also speak. So it's just another tool.
Another tool. And there is a lot of information on that big internet about
A lot,
AAC.
yes.
You can probably watch videos of what it looks like for a child using AAC. I usually say check your sources, making sure
Yes.
you're using a reliable source.
I always tell my parents, like, if you're going to Google, that's great. Let me know what you Google so we can kind of work through it together and figure out what is correct, what is helpful, what is not really doing the trick.
And kind of to summarize, I hear you saying, just that partnership with your speech therapist is so, so important.
Absolutely.
And again, we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but there is a difference between, we love school-based therapy and that model, but that model is really just to support the environment at school. It's not to get to the root of some of the issues. And that's where medical model or outpatient therapy can really help you get to the root of some of the issues and kind of, I guess, work more one-on-one with you and teach you as a parent. And so we highly recommend that you
and like you said, different environments. Again, school is great, but school focuses on school.
Right.
And your kiddo does a lot more than just school.
Right.
So it's,
Right. And getting it all to work together. And I love how you keep reminding us that communication is connection.
Yes.
Like that is
absolutely.
That is what it is. And that's our mom's heart desire. We want to connect. We really, really want to connect with our child. And I think that's the beauty of this alternative way to communicate is it brings the connection. And remember, moms, you can do it. You can do it. We believe in you. And thanks for listening today. Thank you for taking time to learn about AAC.
Yeah.
And Taylor, you've been amazing. Wealth of information.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to Help, I Have Kids. If you're tuning into this podcast, that means you're a mom who's curious, committed, and ready to learn. And we see you. We'd love for you to join our Help, I Have Kids Facebook community, where moms just like you are connecting, asking questions, and encouraging each other every day. It's a space for real conversations, expert insight, and support from moms who get it, because we're all in this together. And if you know a mom who's feeling unsure or maybe overwhelmed, or just needs to be reminded that she can do it, she can advocate for her child with confidence, share this episode with her. We're building a village here, and we're glad you're a part of it.